There is a battle happening within you every single day. Not out there in the world, not in the economy, not in politics, not in the competition. The greatest war you will ever fight is the war within your own mind. Because wealth does not begin in your bank account. Power does not begin in your title. Success does not begin in the applause of strangers. It begins in thought. It begins in the silent laboratory of your imagination. It begins the moment you take control of the one force that has shaped every invention, every empire, every revolution in human history, the mind. The truth is simple, but most people spend their entire lives ignoring it. You are not your circumstances. You are not your failures. You are not the things that happen to you. You are the ideas you hold, the images you carry, the beliefs you refuse to surrender. The poor man and the rich man walk the same earth, breathe the same air, rise beneath the same sun. Yet one dies in despair while the other builds a dynasty. What separates them? It is not luck, it is not chance, it is the direction of thought, the training of belief, the discipline of the unseen forces that command every visible result. Think about it. Henry Ford was not the most educated man in America. He wasn't born into privilege. He had no fortune waiting for him. But Ford had something that millions ignore. The unshakable conviction that he could turn imagination into steel, thought into engines, vision into a world transformed. People laughed at him when he spoke of building an automobile for the masses. They told him it was impossible. And if he had believed them, history would have forgotten his name. But he believed in the power of an idea, and that belief multiplied until it put the world on wheels. This is the law. Wealth is not first physical, it is mental. Power is not first political, it is spiritual. The universe bends to the one who bends their mind with discipline, focus, and faith. Every fortune ever built was first a picture in someone's head. Every empire was first a dream that refused to die. But here is the tragedy. Most people will die poor, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they never reprogrammed the software of their mind. They wake up with doubts. They go to sleep with fears. They replay the same excuses like a broken record. I can't. I don't have enough. I wasn't born for greatness. And every time they speak those words, they write their destiny. Every thought plants a seed, and the harvest always comes. Some plant seeds of poverty. Some plant seeds of fear. Some plant seeds of mediocrity. And they are shocked when their life becomes a field of weeds. You must learn to plant something greater. To reprogram your mind is to take the pen back from fear and write your own script. It is to refuse to let old programming, family limitations, societal expectations, personal failures dictate the story of your future. Just as a gardener pulls weeds and waters flowers, you must pull the weeds of doubt and water the flowers of belief. Consider Thomas Edison, a man who failed 10,000 times in pursuit of the electric light. 10,000 times he watched the experiment collapse. 10,000 times he faced the sting of ridicule. But Edison was not a man of ordinary programming. His mind was tuned to persistence, to belief, to an inner voice that said, "Each failure brings me closer to the answer." And because of this, the world does not sit in darkness. What is the lesson? Failure does not destroy you. Doubt does. Fear does. Programming that convinces you that you are weak, that you are unlucky, that success belongs to someone else. That is what changed you. But when the mind is reprogrammed, failure becomes fuel. Rejection becomes redirection. And obstacles become stepping stones to mastery. You are the architect of your reality. If you are living in poverty, it is not only because money is scarce. it is because wealth is scarce in your thoughts. If you are weak in action, it is because you are weak in vision. If you are trapped in mediocrity, it is because your inner dialogue has convinced you that mediocrity is acceptable. But it is not acceptable. Not for you. Not for the one who has the power to create, to conquer, to rise. Your mind is a magnet. It pulls toward you the people, the resources, the opportunities that match its dominant vibration. When you think small, you attract small. When you think fear, you attract fear. When you think wealth, when you see yourself as powerful, capable, destined for greatness, the universe rearranges itself in your favor. This is not fantasy. This is the law of attraction, the principle that has guided kings and philosophers, generals and entrepreneurs for centuries. You will always manifest the dominant idea you carry. So ask yourself, what do you carry? What are the silent words that play in your head when you wake up, when you walk into a room, when you stare at the ceiling at night? Are they words of strength, of faith, of vision, or words of weakness, of fear, of surrender? Because those words will sculpt your life. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because his editor said he lacked imagination. Imagine that. The man who built a world of magic, fired because someone else could not see his vision. If Disney had accepted that programming, there would be no castles, no stories, no dreams lit up in the eyes of children across the world. But he refused the voice of doubt. He wrote his own code, one that said, imagination has no limit. That belief created an empire. And you, what empire waits inside you? What vision do you bury under excuses? What dream do you silence because someone else told you it was too big? Do you not see? That dream is not random. It was given to you because you are capable of birthing it into reality. The question is not whether the dream is possible. The question is whether you will reprogram your mind to believe it. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with two choices: to live as a prisoner of your old thoughts, or to rise as the commander of new ones, to feed the fear or to feed the vision, to repeat the excuses or to declare a new standard. You cannot serve both. You cannot think like the average and expect to live like the extraordinary. Wealth and power demand a new frequency of thought. They demand clarity, discipline, and persistence. They demand that you step out of the crowd of doubters and step into the arena of believers. They demand that you see beyond the present struggle into the vision of what could be. For vision is the compass of destiny, and without it you wander in circles, enslaved by circumstances. So I ask you now, will you rise? Will you take command of the greatest force in your life, your mind, and use it to carve wealth and power out of the chaos of life? Or will you let the old programming run until your days are gone and your potential buried with you? Clarity is the birthplace of power. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, and you cannot create a future you have not defined. Most people drift through life like ships without a map, tossed by the waves of circumstance, guided not by vision but by distraction. They wonder why they never arrive, why their lives feel empty, why their dreams dissolve into dust. But the answer is simple. They never decided where they were going. Look at every titan of history, and you will see one thing in common. Andrew Carnegie did not stumble into steel. He saw it. Long before the skyscrapers, long before the bridges, long before America was built on steel, he carried a vision in his mind so vivid that it burned through every obstacle. Vision is not a luxury. It is the oxygen of greatness. Ask yourself right now, what do you see? Not what do you wish, not what do you hope, not what do you daydream when the world grows quiet. What do you see so clearly that it commands your decisions, orders your steps, and refuses to let you rest until it becomes real? Because without that level of clarity, your power will scatter. You will chase 100 little things and wonder why none of them bear fruit. To reprogram your mind for wealth and power, you must first give your mind a clear command, a precise picture, a vision so sharp it cuts through every distraction. Wealth is not an accident, it is engineered. Power is not luck, it is cultivated. And the blueprint begins with clarity. But clarity alone is not enough, for vision without purpose is a painting without life. Purpose is what transforms a dream into destiny. Purpose is what gives meaning to the struggle, courage to the battle, strength to the late nights when the world tells you to quit. Without purpose, even wealth will feel empty. Even power will feel hollow. That is why men with millions often destroy themselves, why empires fall from within, because they built fortune but forgot the reason. Abraham Lincoln did not rise from poverty to the presidency for his own comfort. He was driven by a purpose larger than himself, a vision of unity, of freedom, of a nation unbroken. That purpose carried him through defeat after defeat, loss after loss, until destiny crowned him. Without that deeper reason, he would have surrendered long before history remembered his name. So what is your purpose? What reason will pull you forward when pain weighs you down? Is it your family, your faith, your mission, your hunger to leave this world better than you found it? Whatever it is, burn it into your mind. Let it become the fuel that no obstacle can extinguish. Clarity and purpose are the foundation. But the walls of the empire are built with discipline. Discipline is the price of admission to greatness. It is the bridge between vision and reality. Without discipline, even the greatest ideas rot. Without discipline, dreams stay dreams. Think of the inventor Nikola Tesla, who worked for days without sleep, consumed by the fire of discovery. Think of Michelangelo, who chiseled stone for years until the lifeless marble revealed the David hidden within. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not celebrated in the moment. It is sweat. It is repetition. It is the daily decision to do what average men will not. The undisciplined mind is a traitor. It betrays you to comfort, to distraction, to laziness. But the disciplined mind becomes a weapon, sharp and unyielding. And when you wield it, you become unstoppable. You will rise earlier, work longer, endure more, and build what others only dream. But discipline without action is still nothing. You can dream forever. You can plan for years. You can prepare endlessly. But without decisive action, nothing lives. Action is the proof of belief. Action is faith made visible. And the universe only responds to movement. Look at the Wright brothers, who risked their lives in machines of wood and cloth because they believed man could fly. Look at explorers who crossed oceans without maps, chasing lands unseen. Look at entrepreneurs who launch ventures when the world calls them insane. None of them waited for certainty. They acted, and the world shifted because of it. The reprogrammed mind does not sit in hesitation. It acts, and through action it gains feedback. Through feedback it gains wisdom, and through wisdom it grows stronger. Waiting for perfect conditions is the language of failure. Acting with courage is the language of success. Yet, in all your discipline and action, never forget gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness, it is power. Gratitude multiplies what you have. It rewires your brain to see abundance instead of lack, opportunity instead of obstacles, progress instead of problems. A man who lives without gratitude may build wealth, but he will never know peace. A man who gives thanks even in struggle will find strength where others see only despair. When Edison's laboratory burned to the ground, destroying years of work, he stood before the flames and said, "Thank God all our mistakes were burned up. Now we can start again." That is gratitude at the highest level. Gratitude transforms tragedy into opportunity, loss into lessons, endings into beginnings. It is the mindset of the indestructible. Still, the path will not be smooth. Life will test you. Plans will collapse. People will betray. Markets will fall. The world will laugh at your vision. But here lies the final element: resilience. Resilience is the crown of the reprogrammed mind. It is the refusal to stay down, the decision to rise no matter how many times you fall. Every legend you admire was once a man or woman beaten by life. Carnegie faced poverty. Ford faced bankruptcy. Lincoln faced countless defeats. Disney faced rejection after rejection. They did not rise because they never fell. They rose because they would not stay fallen. Resilience is the soul of wealth and power. Without it, you will surrender at the first storm. With it, no storm can sink you. The resilient mind bends, but it does not break. It adapts, it learns. It transforms setbacks into strength. And with each comeback, it grows more unshakable, more powerful, more destined for greatness. This is the truth. Your life is not defined by what happens to you. It is defined by how you respond. And when your mind is reprogrammed for wealth and power, your response will always be victory. Adaptability is the secret weapon of every enduring empire. The world is not fixed, the rules are not permanent, and fortune never stays where it is. What worked yesterday may collapse tomorrow, and what seems impossible today may dominate the future. Those who cling rigidly to the old ways, to the old models, to the old habits, they become relics. But those who adapt, who bend without breaking, who pivot when the ground shifts beneath them, those are the ones who endure. Think of Charles Darwin, who observed not that the strongest survive, but that the most adaptable do. History is filled with fallen giants who refused to change, who clung to old systems while the tide of progress drowned them. And history is filled with innovators who dared to shift, who reimagined, who saw not only what was, but what could be. Andrew Carnegie adapted as steel transformed the world. Henry Ford adapted as assembly lines replaced traditional methods. Steve Jobs adapted as technology reshaped every human interaction. Adaptability is not weakness, it is intelligence in motion. It is the ability to see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be, and still find a way to win. To reprogram your mind for wealth and power, you must build adaptability into your DNA. Do not resist change, anticipate it. Do not fear disruption, master it. Do not hide from uncertainty, become its commander. The man who can adapt becomes untouchable, for no storm can find him unprepared. No shift can leave him behind. But adaptability without learning is blind. You must become a lifelong student because knowledge is the raw material of transformation. Every great empire was built by men and women who never stopped learning, who devoured ideas as if their survival depended on it. And in truth, it did. Abraham Lincoln, raised in poverty, educated himself by candlelight with borrowed books. Thomas Edison read relentlessly, studying every experiment he could find. Benjamin Franklin, though with little formal education, dedicated his life to mastering subjects from science to diplomacy, from writing to invention. They understood a truth many forget. Ignorance is the greatest poverty. Learning is the greatest wealth. The mind reprogrammed for power is never satisfied with yesterday's knowledge. It seeks, it questions, it studies, it absorbs lessons from mentors, from history, from failure itself. Every mistake becomes a classroom. Every defeat becomes a textbook. Every challenge becomes a professor in the school of mastery. But learning alone does not create transformation. Knowledge unused is like gold buried beneath the earth. It shines, but it does not serve. You must turn learning into mastery, and mastery is born not of theory, but of relentless practice. Consider the violinist who spends 10,000 hours with the bow before producing beauty. Consider the writer who pours out 1,000 pages before a single masterpiece. Consider the entrepreneur who fails in business after business until one venture reshapes the world. Mastery is the child of obsession, discipline, and time. Napoleon Hill himself studied hundreds of the most successful men of his age, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, and distilled their wisdom into principles. Why? Because mastery leaves patterns, and those patterns can be learned, practiced, embodied. If they could rise from obscurity to dominance, so can you, if you are willing to pay the price of mastery. The world today glorifies shortcuts, hacks, and instant gratification. But the truth is timeless. Greatness is never instant. Wealth is never luck. Power is never gifted. It is earned by those who dedicate themselves to learning, to practicing, to refining their craft until the world cannot ignore them. The blacksmith hammers the same stroke thousands of times before the blade is sharp. The sculptor chips the same stone endlessly before the form emerges. The speaker stumbles over words in private before commanding thousands in public. Do not despise the repetition. Do not flee the monotony. Within it lies the alchemy of transformation. And yet, as you master your craft, remember, your mind is the foundation. The richest man in the world without inner mastery is still a slave. But the poorest man who has mastered himself already holds the seed of fortune. Self-mastery is the highest form of wealth. When you control your emotions, they no longer control you. When you command your focus, distractions lose their grip. When you discipline your habits, your future is already decided. The kings of the earth may wear crowns of gold, but the man who rules himself wears a crown no one can take away. Think of Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, who wrote not about conquest, but about control of the self. Think of Gandhi, who led not with armies, but with discipline, simplicity, and unshakable vision. Think of modern leaders who remain calm when chaos surrounds them, who act with clarity when the crowd panics. This is the true source of power, not to dominate others, but to master yourself. Your mind is the command center of your destiny. If you allow it to wander, you will drift. If you allow it to weaken, you will collapse. But if you train it, sharpen it, program it with clarity, purpose, discipline, action, gratitude, adaptability, learning, and mastery, then wealth and power are not just possibilities, they are inevitabilities. Do not misunderstand me. The road will not be easy. It will test you. It will break you. It will strip you bare until only your essence remains. But that essence, if fortified, if trained, if unshakable, will rise from every fire stronger than before. You are not here to live as a shadow of what you could be. You are not here to wander through life repeating the same patterns of fear and doubt. You are here to rise, to conquer, to create. You are here to write your own chapter in the story of human greatness. And it begins with this: reprogram your mind. Refuse the old programming of mediocrity. Reject the lies of limitation. Rewire every thought until it aligns with vision, with strength, with wealth, with power. For when the mind shifts, the world bends. When the mind rises, the future obeys. When the mind believes, destiny bows. But let me tell you the greatest secret of all. The power has always been within you. Not in the books, not in the mentors, not in the economy, not in the government, not in the applause of others. Those are only mirrors reflecting what you already carry. The true source of wealth and power is the mind you command, the spirit you refuse to break, the vision you refuse to surrender. And yet most will never touch this truth. They will live and die as prisoners of their own excuses. They will bow to fear. They will surrender to comfort. They will whisper to themselves, maybe tomorrow, until their tomorrows run out. They will spend their lives envying the successful while refusing to see that the same fire burns within them. But you are not most people. You would not be here if you were content with mediocrity. You would not be listening if you were satisfied with excuses. Something in you is stirring. Something in you is demanding more. That is your higher self calling you. That is your destiny rising from the depths, demanding to be acknowledged. And the call is not gentle. It is fierce. It will not let you sleep in peace while your potential rots. It will not let you hide behind distraction, behind comfort, behind routine. The call of greatness will haunt you until you answer. And when you do, when you finally decide to reprogram your mind and live as the creator of your destiny, the world will not recognize you. You will no longer walk as you once walked. You will no longer think as you once thought. You will no longer accept what you once tolerated. You will walk with the certainty of vision. You will think with the discipline of kings. You will act with the boldness of conquerors. You will endure with the resilience of warriors. And you will rise with the humility of those who know that gratitude is the key to abundance. Wealth will come, not as an accident, but as the echo of your belief. Power will come, not as a gift, but as the reflection of your self-mastery. Influence will come, not as a trick, but as the natural gravity of a life lived with purpose. Picture this. A man wakes each morning with clarity, speaks to himself words of strength, trains his focus like a blade, and refuses to bow to fear. He takes consistent action, adapts when the storms come, learns when failure arrives, and sharpens his discipline every day. Do you think this man will remain average? Do you think this man will die forgotten? Number. This man is inevitable. His wealth is inevitable. His power is inevitable. His legacy is inevitable. And that man, that woman, that leader can be you. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when someone else gives permission, but now, in this moment, in this breath. Reprogramming your mind does not require magic. It requires decision. It requires you to stand before your own reflection and declare, enough. Enough living as a shadow of my potential. Enough surrendering to fear. Enough replaying the same excuses. Enough giving my life away to doubt. From this moment, my mind belongs to me. My thoughts serve me. My beliefs lift me. My habits build me. My vision commands me. And when you declare this, the world shifts. Opportunities begin to appear where before you saw none. Strength rises in you where before you felt weakness. Faith grows in you where before you saw only fear. This is not coincidence. This is the law. As within, so without. Change the program inside and the results outside must follow. Do not think small. Do not whisper dreams when you are meant to roar destiny. The world is waiting for leaders who will rise above the noise of mediocrity and live as proof that greatness is possible. The world is starving for examples of resilience, of discipline, of vision, of purpose. Be that example. Become the lighthouse others see in the storm. Yes, it will cost you. It will cost comfort. It will cost laziness. It will cost you the approval of those who fear your rise. But what you gain is beyond measure. You gain freedom. You gain wealth. You gain power. You gain the ability to carve your name into eternity. Think of it. One life, one chance, one opportunity to take this gift of existence and create something extraordinary, to build, to lead, to inspire, to leave behind not just possessions, but a legacy that whispers to generations, here was one who refused to live average. Here was one who mastered the mind. Here was one who rose. This is your moment. Do not wait for another. The graveyards are filled with dreams buried by hesitation. The world is built by those who act. So act. Begin now, not tomorrow, not later, now. Speak new words to yourself. Hold a new vision in your mind. Take one bold action today, then another tomorrow, and another the day after that. Momentum will grow, strength will multiply, and soon you will look back and realize you are no longer the same. You have become the master. Wealth and power are not reserved for the chosen few. They are reserved for the disciplined few, the faithful few, the relentless few, the ones who reprogram their minds and refuse to quit. You can be one of them. The only question is, will you? So arise, reprogram your mind, command your destiny, create wealth that multiplies, power that uplifts, influence that inspires. Live with purpose, lead with vision, walk with resilience, rule yourself, and the world will follow. And when the story of your life is told, let it not be said that you lived small, that you surrendered to fear, that you buried your potential. Let it be said that you mastered your mind, and through it, mastered your world. Because in the end, wealth and power are not just about what you achieve. They are about who you become. And when you become the master of your mind, you become unstoppable.